Hello, Oracles. How is it going today? Happy Friday to all of you out there. Anybody here in New England, happy hot Friday to all of you. My goodness, it's a scorcher out there for April, hitting 90. I was talking with my parents the other day who were in San Diego. It's almost like the entire country flipped. It's like it's hot and dry here, and over there they're getting all sorts of rain. And I got my friend who's in Arizona. They're getting this legendary bloom going on right now because of all the rain. Disappointed that I'm not out there to see that, but I'm getting the pictures and it's pretty awesome. So I hope you guys are doing well. Stock came down a little bit today, not a big concern. And the two things I was looking at this week and next were how is the stock going to move based upon all of the macro news that we were getting with CPI and PPI. And obviously, with the inflation data that we got in, we are in disinflationary territory. CPI was under expectations. CPI is now at 5%. Obviously, we know adjustments can be made. But at the time right now, inflation and interest rates are about the same. So if the Fed goes up another 25 basis points at the beginning of May, they will then be above this. And then PPI came in super low compared to expectations, coming down nicely. So yeah, I mean, we're moving in the right direction, and I think we're going to be good. But now, seeing as the market didn't react too much, and the stock itself didn't react too much to all of that, I think we're now waiting for earnings season. And looking at Tesla itself coming out Wednesday, we're going to see earnings, and obviously the big question is where are margins right now? Because if cost of goods sold are coming down as Tesla is saying they are, as PPI is saying it is, then you know what? Chances are the cost is coming down. So the price coming down, margins should hold steady. But that could be future cost as well. We will have to wait and see how this all plays out. We will see it on Wednesday. And yes, David, actually, thoughts on Emmett. That's one of the big things that I wanted to talk about tonight. I saw what Emmett had said, and I think there's some validity to that point. And I'm going to speak about that and relay some things that Gary Black had said also. So yes, I will get into that in a minute. I'll just give it a few minutes for people to get on. But yes, I definitely want to chat about that. What's going on, Karav? Squatting for the first time today. That's awesome. Squats are some of the best. And for you guys who don't know, I do have another channel now for health and fitness. This channel actually years ago started as a health and fitness channel. And if anybody wants to go and see that, it's Oracle Health and Fitness. And I'm going to do a lot of health and fitness stuff over there. I'm going to be more active on that as well. So if any of you guys are interested in health and fitness, I am actually well more versed in that than I am in investing. I've been doing that since I was 10 years old. So health and fitness, I have a wealth of knowledge in. So I will definitely be over there. And once the channel builds up a little bit more, I'll do live streams there as well. I'll talk more about health and fitness. So the health part of the health and wealth. Let's see. Raymond, how's it going? Toronto. Yeah. How's the temperature up there? Because I know usually when we get heat waves here, it does end up there as well. So what's it doing up there? Is it a hot April for you as well? What's going on, Hanif? Moose, what's going on? Moose in the house. Moose in the hoose. Michael, how are you, my friend? Yes. Yeah, hoping for some good earnings as well. Again, I think going forward, earnings are going to be good. We're always going to be progressing up. So it's going to be a movement in the right direction. How the market reacts to those earnings could fluctuate. And to David's point, we're going to get into what some of Emmett had said over on Twitter discussing earnings going forward for the next few years. And it's something that I had in the back of my head, and I had mentioned it a while ago about trading sideways for 4 to 5 years. And we'll get into some of that tonight and just my thoughts behind it. 28 Celsius. I've got to put that into American Eagle degrees. That's pretty warm. Yes, I know. I remember when I was in Australia, we had to do the calculations down there. What is going on, Sith Lord? I was actually just watching Mandalorian before I hopped on. I have to finish the latest episode. Actually, was it the latest episode? Yeah, I gotta finish that. Awesome. Being a good human. Yes, I am being a good human, and I have that merchandise is on the way. Actually, a few different things have come up. So I am ordering a lot of new merchandise, and I can get them in dry fit. So that's why I wanted to get them so I can wear them to the gym. So I will be getting a lot more merchandise, and I'll be rocking them here on this channel so you guys can see them all, because now I'm wearing my old stuff. Oh, it's on this side. P90X Beachbody Coach. So that was the first program I started with them. But I will be getting into more of the merch, and I'll show you guys what I've got. Some good stuff out there. Mid 80s in Chicago. It's so hot. And then a chance of snow next week. It's so wild. You know, it's crazy. We think in New England that we get wild weather, and it is true that Mount Washington has the craziest weather in the world. Believe it or not, it has the wildest weather in the world. But you go to the Midwest and you can have all four seasons in the same day. It's totally madness out there. Singapore, yeah, you're around 35 degrees. And not only that, but it's humid too. Like in here in New England, it's humid, but there it's totally different. Just the humidity is gross. What's going, Hamza? Oh, Tennessee. Michael, where in Tennessee are you from? I've been down to Nashville. I love it down there. I've got some friends down in Tennessee also. I love it. I was actually looking at some property down there to buy. Hamza, Tim, question here. How did you get bald? Genetics? Yes. At this point in my life, at 43 years old, I have had no hair for longer than I have had hair. Obviously, as a baby, I didn't have any till I was probably two. I had hair, and then I basically started cutting it short like this my junior year of high school. Now I had more of it, so it was shorter. Like when you guys who have been around on the channel before, I really shaved it down. I was like that, and it was just receding, receding, receding since I was basically 21, 22, and just kept creeping back. And every year after 30, I would cut it a little bit shorter, and I finally just got rid of it all. But yeah, genetics. My mom's side, they're bald. My dad has a full head of hair, but my mom's side, that they're all bald. So I knew it was coming. So not a big deal. I don't mind it. It's very efficient. I mean, I don't have to buy shampoo. I don't have to buy conditioner. I don't have to take time to even dry my hair. I just take a towel to my head and it's done. It's so nice. I just have to be careful of the sun. Oh, just got rid of the snow in Edmonton. I'm actually looking to go hiking in New Hampshire in a couple of weeks, and I have no doubt there's still snow on the mountains there. I'm just hoping it doesn't snow the weekend I'm there to go on a quick hike. Ooh, Cape. Where in the Cape? Actually, my son is visiting the Cape with his friends right now. I think he's actually coming home today. Jersey, yeah, Jersey. That's actually where my race is in a couple of weeks. So April 29th, I will be in Vernon over at Mountain Creek doing my race. Johnson City. I actually don't know where Johnson City is. Where's that in relation to Nashville? I know Nashville and Memphis. I drove down there to visit my buddy in Nashville, and it was crazy when you drive there because then you cross the time zone. So I'm like, it was awesome. And then driving Tennessee from point to point just takes forever. Just like the longest state. Ooh, Giga Shanghai made 2.85 times as much Model Ys daily than Fremont in March. Dang. And see, that goes back to like when we heard about Ford, and Ford is retrofitting some of their factories to become EV factories. Again, kudos to Ford for doing it, but knowing how Tesla operates and the fact that retrofitting an old factory just is never going to be as efficient as building a new one straight up, really goes to show the difference in what a factory can do. And then thinking about the fact that Shanghai now is considered an old factory for Tesla, thinking about what Austin and Berlin can do. And then when Mexico comes up, talking about putting out 4 million vehicles per year from Mexico, it's going to be absolutely insane. Rosebud, Alberta. And you know what? Ironically, that right there, that's, I'm sure maybe you recognize it. That's Banff. That's Moraine Lake behind me. That was the backdrop I had in my studio for the longest time last year. That is the first place I'm going to go when I go get my van. Yes, Raven, the beard made up for it. My hair just, it slid down my face to my chin. Jay, thank you. I appreciate that. And just a reminder for all of you guys, all the super stickers, super thanks, super chats, everything you guys give me at the end of the month, I will show you everything, and it's going right into Tesla stock. So I appreciate all of that and all of the support. Oh, Falmouth. Actually, where was he? Yarmouth is where my son was. Top in cities in Northeast Tennessee. Okay. All right. About as far as what you can get from Memphis and Tennessee. Yeah. Yeah. So basically from here in Connecticut, when I'm driving there, that's one of the first places I'll get into. Okay. That makes sense. me see. Oh yeah, yep, David. So when I go up there to visit, there's a couple other people I know that are up in that area. So when I go up to visit, I'll let you know, and we can hang out. Do you see Tesla going to 200 a share by earnings? I'm so torn. The amount of concern that some people are having about margins, because even more price cuts are coming over now. Obviously, we're in a new quarter, so it's not going to affect the earnings numbers that we see. Um, but when we're looking at how people are feeling about the stock, we might actually see a sell off going into earnings. So I honestly don't know. The next, I don't know, the next couple of years, and again, we're going to get into it based upon some things that Emmett was talking about. But the next couple of years could be very questionable. I mean, going into earnings, it's always unknown. You never know how the stock is going to react. And this is why I'm going to keep on reiterating for as long as this is going to go on for, pay attention to the fundamentals and not the stock price. So um, that was it. So just really pay attention to what the fundamentals are doing. Because even as Emmett said, going down the road, none of it's going to matter over the next few years, but the next few years could be uncertain for a lot of different reasons. And we'll dive into that in a minute. Wave is significantly being flattened in Europe. Giga Berlin is delivering a ton of cars in the usual very weak first month. Yeah. Yeah. And that'll be good. And don't forget, as Berlin continues to ramp, that's that wave coming down, because we're not worrying about how many boats are coming over from Shanghai. And what's going to be a big piece of that is less and less boats are going to have to come over from Shanghai, because Berlin is going to be supporting that. That is massive cost. So when you're looking at operating margins, that's going to be a lot lower because you don't have all of those shipping costs. Plus, now you're going to be able to deliver a lot more to Shanghai itself. So we'll really want to pay attention to the numbers, especially those insured vehicle numbers coming out every Tuesday morning. Where are those coming in? Because if those continue to climb, especially in the first month and a half of the quarter, which is when they export the most, we see those going up. That tells me that they're exporting less because Berlin is being able to support more over in Europe. Will you be watching Starship on the 17th? If I can, I absolutely will. Seeing as that's Monday, what time is that at? I do not know what time it is. But yeah, I definitely like. I love Tesla, but just everything moving us forward. I love forward progression. I love innovation and being able to be part of a life where we can see potential human life going. I mean, obviously, we're going to be going back to the moon relatively soon, first time in over 50 years. And then, us having humans go to Mars potentially in my lifetime, that's awesome. So yeah, I will definitely be tuning into that. Yes, buying camping gear to do some Tesla car camping this season. I know. I've been getting the messages from Tesla that my vehicle is going to be ready very soon. Karav, how is yours coming along? Have you guys taken delivery? I know your deliveries. I think you're in the window now. So I'm really curious. I'm definitely pushing mine off. I've got some decisions I have to make if I'm going to take the delivery of my Tesla, if I'm just going to keep my car as it is, or if I'm going to go buy a van. Really wish Tesla had their van out now. But I'm just kind of stuck in the middle of what I'm doing right now. I'm just waiting for opportunities to present themselves properly to me before I make a decision. Yeah, Lucid had a poor Q1 production, even poorer deliveries. Um, they're going to become a commercial flop. It's sad to say, and Farzad had mentioned over on Twitter that by 2026, Tesla might be the only cash-free flowing company for mass production vehicles out there. It's totally possible because legacy auto will be in the negative, just because they're switching over to EVs and they're not profitable yet, despite the fact that they're saying they're going to be profitable by 2024. Let's see if that's going to actually be realistic. And then these startups are really getting hammered. I mean, even as a startup, look at Tesla. It took Tesla 10 years to become profitable. So it's not realistic to assume that these startups like Rivian and Lucid are going to become profitable within 3 years. It's just not realistic. So, it's totally possible that Tesla is the only cash flow generating company producing cars in 2026. Alan, yeah, it doesn't seem to matter what Tesla does. The market doesn't care. Yeah. Right now, the market is going to be strictly pricing Tesla on earnings. And to dive into what Emmett said, Emmett was talking about how Tesla cutting the prices, which Tesla wants to do. So, by the way, Tesla's not cutting prices because they're concerned about demand. From day one, Elon has said they want to make affordable EVs for everyone. That means that they have to come down on prices. So, with that said, as the cost of their production comes down, they are going to come down on these prices. What's going to end up happening is because those prices are coming down, margins will naturally come down. Obviously, we'll see when it comes to balancing the cost of manufacturing and when they get to economies of scale. But when you're seeing pricing coming down, even Gary Black saw, well, they're cutting prices. They plug those numbers in. When you plug in average selling price multiplied by the number of vehicles you believe that they are going to deliver, that is going to come in with your number that's going to give you revenue. That revenue then ties off to margin. Where do you think the margins are going to be? And because the revenue has come down from the average selling price coming down, that is going to in turn bring down your ESP or your EPS. When your EPS comes down, stock price comes down. That's just the basic natural trend of things. So if Tesla for the next 2 to 3 years is going to be coming down with their pricing and average selling price comes down, that's going to mute a lot of the expectations when it comes to earnings, which in turn is going to mute the stock price going up. With now that all coming into play, eventually we hit that balance point. That balance point might end up coming around 2025 to 2026 when we've got that compact car coming out at volume production, Cybertruck coming out in volume production. Those balance out. And as Emmett said, if FSD gets solved sooner than 2025, that may end up bumping up sooner as well. But what ends up happening is FSD, let's say, gets regulatory approval come 2025, maybe happens in China sooner. Don't know, but we could be seeing a sideways trade going for Tesla through maybe 2025, strictly because the prices are coming down on their vehicles and FSD not being solved yet and energy still ramping up. But, again, I know some people think that that's bearish talk, but that's just a realistic perspective to have, especially when you're looking at it from the market's perspective. This is how Gary Black looks at it, which is why I love listening to him, because he is kind of in the middle. He's a Tesla bull, understands where all the Tesla bulls are coming from, but he also speaks Wall Street. So he has that balance. Gary Black right now has a street high. He did bring his price target down to $320 over 12 months. But when we hit that balance point, that perfect point, I think is going to happen all at the same time when we have FSD being solved and regulatory approval passed. We're going to end up having the compact car coming out, and we're going to have the Cybertruck ramping. At the same exact time, we are going to have energy really taking off. That is going to be that point where we see that next really exponential boom coming for the stock. We're going to see that really take off. So that, again, is just one of the few scenarios that I see potentially playing out. So I fully agree with Emmett that that is a potential that we can see. Obviously, when we come to earnings next week, if Tesla's proving that their margins are 25, 26% despite all of these price cuts, all bets are off. The stock is probably going to take off. And then to David's point, we could potentially be hitting $200 without a problem and maybe even higher. So these are just all the different scenarios. And you guys who have been with me for a while know that I don't stick to one plan. I kind of take a lot of different scenarios and put them all in my head so that I can be ready and agile for whatever ends up happening. No state income tax in Tennessee. I know. That's awesome. I love states like that. Oh yeah, thumbs up. Thanks. If everybody hits that like button, that would be super appreciated. Thank you, David. I appreciate that. Jay Lizard, what do you think is the main driving force behind public perception of Tesla these days? Tesla, what is the first thing that comes to mind? It depends on who you talk to, for sure. Obviously, those of us in the community know really what's going on. A lot of people on Twitter have their assumptions. So some people base their perception off of Elon. Some people base their perception off of what they see in mainstream media. And I think those two kind of weigh into it. So it really, to me, depends on where people are getting their information from, and that's going to determine what their perception is. So if people are getting their information from Twitter, they may have a better sense of the information that's out there. I haven't seen a lot of Tesla Q barking around lately. Maybe it's because Tesla hasn't been running and the bulls haven't been screaming. So we're kind of in a balanced place right now. But that's kind of where I'm at. So a lot of it comes down to, the first thing that comes to mind for Tesla for most people is going to be, it's an EV, and it's an expensive EV. And I know that we were talking about advertising the other day, and Gary Black had made a great point when we were talking about pricing of EVs. When people don't think, when a common perception out there is that Teslas are expensive. To Gary's point, Tesla can advertise that, by the way, they're not expensive. So I can't argue that point. That's a very valid point. I know Tesla is not one to come out and sell their product. They usually come out and just say, this is what Tesla does. These are the features, and just kind of basically states it matter of factly. This is our features. And people are like, oh, that's pretty cool. I'd like to have that in a vehicle. So to be able to lay out, maybe Tesla does an advertisement of, hey, if you do the math out based on, 5 years of ownership of the vehicle, it would cost you X amount versus an ICE vehicle. That could be something that might be actually worthwhile when it comes to advertising. Raymond, Ellie in Space doing a great job reporting on Starship. Yeah, I love Ellie. If you guys are on Twitter and don't follow Ellie, please do. She's phenomenal. Now, keeping her on the stream right now. Yeah, Ellie's great. Michael, thank you, sir. Appreciate it as always. Yeah, so I could buy more Tesla too. Absolutely. That's all going towards Tesla. On Monday, I will be hitting my 63rd share. So that'll be nice, hitting 63. And then with the contributions you guys are giving, I should be hitting probably 64 or 65 as soon as I get my my YouTube pay for next month. What's going on, Melissa? Looking forward to your income chart. Yeah, and I apologize, guys. I've just been so busy with my son's soccer. I did not put out a March. I don't think. Gosh, it's been so busy. I don't think I'd put out a March income video. So I will try to get that to you guys. Even this weekend is super busy. So I will do my best to get it out to you guys because I owe you that, and I know that I show you that to be totally transparent, so I can show you where I'm at. Oh, you got pushed out April 29th to May 28th. I will check mine when we're off of this. I'll check to see where my delivery date is, because last I checked, mine was the same as it was before, which was April 28th to June 2nd. Yeah, delivery dates are changing like crazy. And I don't know why. I'm really curious as to why they're changing so much. That is very strange. Isaac, what's going on, my friend? Alan, someone asked Brian if you can wear leather shoes before touching a Tesla. I don't even know what that means. Yash, you think it's a good time to buy Tesla now or wait for earnings, then buy? So my thesis on this is obviously never financial advice. You've got to do your own due diligence, but the questions I always ask, which are easy for you to answer on your own, which will determine whether you should buy now or not. What is your thesis on Tesla? Are you buying to swing trade or are you buying to hold? How long do you plan on holding if you do plan on holding? If you do plan on holding for 5 or 10 years or whatever length of time it is, what is your own personal price target for that time frame? So for instance, my personal time frame is a minimum of 10 years. In 10 years, I have a price target of $3,000. So for me right now, buying at the price it's at $185 is absolutely a good purchase because I think the return on my investment over the next 10 years will be totally worth it. This is why I buy Tesla every single day. I put in $20 every day. So I'm still waiting though, because even as a little guy, I still save some cash because if we pull down further, I want to be able to buy more for less. That's why I'm doing this. So that's really what it comes down to, is whatever your long-term thesis is, whatever your price target is, do you think that purchasing the stock right now is going to be a good return on your investment based upon your thesis? That's it. So That's the best financial advice I can give you. And then you've got to answer that question on your own. That's all. So then is it wise to sell Apple for Tesla? So personally, I did. This was last year. So for me, I was profitable in Apple anyway. And I kind of saw the market was starting to pull down. And I was like, you know what? I saw Tesla was coming to prices I liked it at, even lower. And heck, we were still at the time, I think, just under $300. So I sold out my Apple and I purchased Tesla with that money. Um, and I like to have the cash on hand. So right now I'm just over 10% cash, and I like to be in that position because nobody knows what's going to happen. And I want to have that liquidity available just in case we get another massive sell off for whatever reason. I'm available and ready to buy. Yeah, honey, if that's a good point. When Cybertrucks are seen on the roads everywhere, Tesla will start to climb. That's very true. Very much like the Model S, and now we see Teslas everywhere. But that Cybertruck is going to be that next eye opener for a lot of people on the roads. Raymond, Tesla needs to be 20% gross margin, 17% operating margin. Anything less will hit the stock price hard. I think the problem is if we are as low as 20% with vehicle margins, I don't think operating margins are going to be over 14%. So I think it's going to be 20. It's probably going to be a 6 to 8% difference between the two. So if we're at 20% vehicle margins, we'll be at probably 12 to 14% gross margins, operating margins. So for me, I've got them slated at 24% vehicle margins for the quarter, 22 to 24. I think for the year, they're going to be at 24%. With all the price cuts they took, I'm not sure if they're going to hit 24, but they'll probably hit 20% vehicle margins. And then at that point, they're probably going to be at that 14 to 16% operating margin range. Yep, Sunshi Adventures, absolutely. Buy when others are fearful. Do you think guys think people are fearful of Tesla right now? I don't think people are. I think right now the mentality of the stock is we're just in limbo. We're kind of in a breath holding stage, waiting to see which way we're going to go. We've been kind of consolidating for a while. Let me see. I'll bring it up and I'll show you guys on the charts here. Because it's really just been trading sideways mostly for quite a while now. Drop it in here. Yeah, so if you guys see, I mean, let me get over to here. I mean, we've basically, I mean, we've topped at like this 213 mark. So between 213, we dipped as low as 167, but really between this range here of 180 and 200, we've just been sitting here since, gosh, the last almost month. Over a month we've been sitting in this range of 185 to 200, sometimes poking out a little bit. So we're due for a bigger move in one way or the other. And I think that might be coming with earnings. I truly do. So I think earnings is what's going to determine which way we go. And again, I think margins are going to be the biggest factor in all of that. Yeah, nervous for earnings. Hope they give us some awesome surprise soon. The surprises I think we're going to get will not be at earnings. Elon doesn't like to do that stuff at earnings. The information Elon gives us at earnings is great information. It's just stuff that the market doesn't really care about. So I personally love the information he gives us. So I'm looking forward to what we hear from him. But I think we'll probably hear about a factory coming maybe May or June. We'll hear about a factory. And then from there, I don't know, because I honestly don't think they're going to unveil the compact car until next year. We might actually hear about the van before the compact car, because the van isn't going to be a vehicle that's going to cannibalize any other platform that they have. At most, if anything, it would cannibalize the Cybertruck. But if they announced the Cyber van but gave no dates behind it and just said, hey, here's the Cyber van coming in the future, that may be something they end up doing over the summer. But the compact car is going to cannibalize the Model 3 and the Model Y. So they want to be very careful with how they release that, because if they have too long of a lag time between the announcement and the delivery date, they could lose a lot of sales very quickly with people just waiting for it to get released. So I think we don't hear about the compact car until actually probably January or February of 2024. Hey, Lang, what's going on? Lang, I just want to let you know, I tried to figure out how to get subtitles on here. haven't figured it out yet. I tried. I looked at YouTube. I tried to go through StreamYard. Could not find it yet. But I will try to Google it and figure out if I can do that for live streams. And if any of you guys have seen people doing it, please let me know, because maybe it's something I can't do. But Lang, I tried. I tried for today, and I will continue to try for you. Ray, if the stock price goes up sharply before earnings, I will sell some temporarily on Tuesday. Yeah, I think if we see a big jump on it, again, it's so hard to tell, because is it getting manipulated? Is it running up because people inside know what's going on? Truly don't know that. But Moose, have you heard about Ford's Blue Drive getting approvals for hands-off driving on motorways in the UK? I'm hoping Tesla will follow. My Model Y long range told me off today supposedly doing that. Interesting. I did not hear about that. That's very interesting about that. And I don't know. And obviously the UK has said by 2025 they want to be ready for it. So if that's the case, then I'm sure Tesla is going to be in there with them. I think Tesla's looking at a bigger area, bigger a market to get that into, which is why I think Elon's going over to talk to China, because I think, Ford in the UK is awesome, but if Tesla announces that they've got regulatory approval for it over in China, then if Tesla got it in the UK, nobody would care, because China's significantly bigger. Melissa, yeah, I feel better with Tesla sitting over $200. I don't blame you. I mean, I know a lot of us on here do like the fact that Tesla's dipping lower so we can buy more for less, because we know full well Tesla will be over $200 again in the future. That's never a question. It is going to go back up unless there's some sort of massive issue that's going on in the entire economy, which is going to be bigger concerns than Tesla stock itself. But yeah, that's coming. We're going to be over 200 soon enough. Jay Lizard, advertising is the elephant in the room. Raymond, Tesla is so modest as to how safe their cars are. It's the most important to me. That's a great point. And I mentioned it the other day about the VW being the safest car, and that's why a lot of people bought them for their kids back in the 90s, was because they were the safest car out there. And very similarly, with Tesla being as safe as it is, that's one of the reasons I want to buy one for my son, because they're as safe as they are. So that is a huge factor, and Tesla does not tout their safety as strongly as they should. You see commercials on TV back in the day when I was actually watching TV about Ford and GM touting how safe their vehicles are. It wouldn't be a bad idea for Tesla to do the same thing. Richard, if margins are still strong for Q1, Tesla might move a little. If it drops even little, get ready for buying opportunity. Yeah, I think the market is going to be extremely fickle when it comes to it. Now, again, Netflix has their earnings on Tuesday. So the way the market reacts to Netflix earnings may actually give us some insight as to how they would react to Tesla's earnings the following day. So pay attention to Netflix earnings on Tuesday. Next week, sorry, get some water here. It's so hot. So next week, I will not be able to leave work early to come on here to do a live stream for the actual earnings report, but I will try to duck out with enough time to come on here for the earnings call. And then we'll, of course, do a follow-up after the earnings call to dissect it all. And I'll try to be able to get here to just jump on and discuss the numbers before the earnings call. So that's my plan for next Wednesday. I may or may not do a live stream Tuesday because I'm going live on Wednesday. So I may just do a quick video on Tuesday to kind of give everybody insights as to, again, how Netflix reacted to earnings, to kind of give us some insight to what's going to happen with Tesla on Wednesday. Let's see here. Oops. All right. What else we got? Where are we at? Where did I lose you guys? Oh my goodness. I missed everything up here. There we go. Let's see. Alan, I'd be afraid to pick up a Tesla at the Fremont plant. Might get mugged and homeless drug addicts. I would love to pick up my Cybertruck, or if they have the Cybertruck or the Cybervan, if I am still getting the Cybertruck, if the Cybervan's not out by then, I would love to be able to pick up my Cybertruck right from Austin. And Tim can sing, I can drive 65. Oh, yeah. Little Ted Nugent there. Oh, the leather shoes means you might get electrocuted if not wearing rubber shoes. Gotcha, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, Sean, dollar cost average is the way to go. That's probably the best and only financial advice I can give because it's factual. It is just factual knowledge. Historically, the best way to earn long-term wealth in the market is dollar cost averaging and ignoring the swings that happen on short-term bases. Just dollar cost average. Yeah, Raymond said it. Yeah, cost averaging buying is a good less risk strategy as per Tim. And for me, I morphed my own. So for you guys, to explain my strategy, for the first couple of years of my investing, I never had enough cash. So whenever they were buying opportunities, I was that new investor that was always constantly giving my money to the market and losing my money because a stock would run and maybe I'd make a little bit of money on it, but then it would run more and I was like, oh, I missed out on more. Or the stock would pull down after I bought it. And I was like, oh man, I was like, I actually bought during the FOMO stage and then the stock sold off. And I'm like, oh, now I'm upside down on the stock. And then it was at a buying opportunity, but I didn't have any cash available. And I got so frustrated with that that I created my own strategy, which is always have a minimum of 5% cash on hand. And usually I try to build up my cash from 5 to 10%. Over 10%, if I have more than 10%, I just maybe put it in a couple of stocks here and there. I feel that one now and determine, do I want to just keep on building my cash or add a little bit to something else? That's typically what I do when it comes to the cash building. When it comes to Tesla, I was like, I want to buy and I don't want to miss any opportunities. I'm so busy at work, I can't pay attention to the market. So I just go and I get myself, I use SoFi and I'm over there and I just put $20 in every day. So it automatically invests $20 every day into Tesla. Then as soon as I hit a full share, I sell out of that and I put it into TD Ameritrade. That just happens to be where I have all of my main portfolio. So I just convert it over to there. But this way, I always have cash ready. So if we get that opportunity where we have seen several times over the last year where the stock just comes crashing down, I can now say, hey, I like the stock at this price. I'm now going to deploy some of that extra cash, more than just that $20, and buy even more at these lower levels. But I still maintain some cash because if we pull down further, I will buy lower. That's what I did all last year is I just was like little pieces of my cash I would dump in and I would pay attention to the charts and say, based on the charts, where do I think we're going to come down to next? And would then just add more at that point. So that's how I have run my strategy, and it's done very well for me. And obviously, as we go further down the road, as the stock comes back up again, I'll end up going green. I am still upside down on Tesla, but as we end up going green again, we come closer, and because I'm dollar cost averaging, my cost basis continually gets lower and lower over time. So I'm never ever timing the bottom perfectly. Maybe sometimes I get close, but by putting in $20 every day, I'm going to guarantee myself I'm much closer to the bottom than I would be any otherwise than trying to time it myself. So I'm close to the bottom at that end, and then I'm not selling. So it's not like I'm trying to time the top to sell it, but that's just the way I do it and kind of gives me a better range towards the bottom of the best price that I could buy it at. Sofa. I'm still a firm believer that the real party hasn't started yet. Once the Fed pivots, that's when it's time to sit back and watch the barn burn down, then buy the ashes. You're right. For those of you guys who watched the live stream I did with Adam, and I'll have him on here again to discuss more of the macro environment. Historically, based upon the data that we've seen, when the Fed pauses, the market rallies. When the Fed pivots, the market crashes. Typically, the Fed pivoting and the market crash are due to two different reasons. The market coming down, going into a recession, is typically due to whatever reasons are going on at the time. So in this case here, could be a lot of the disinflationary pressure that we're seeing. That pressure coming down could end up bringing price of products down. That could end up leading to a negative GDP just because the price of goods is coming down. So it's just literal less dollars that are being purchased and spent, bringing that down. Don't forget that as the economy, as the Fed was running off their balance sheet, there's less money in the economy and less money in the market to be spent. So that is naturally coming down. They have since given the market a bit of an injection of money again. Not a huge fan of that, but they are going to have to end up running that off of their balance sheet as well. That still has yet to play out. They still need to run that off. When that happens, less money in the market, less money to spend. The interest rates are still going to be high at that point. So businesses are going to be borrowing less money. More people are going to get laid off. We're going to end up flipping that switch to where employees right now are ruling the day and they're being able to say, hey, I want this. And employers have no choice but to say we have to give you this because we need employees. That'll end up flipping where the employers will end up having the upper hand, and now they will have their better pick of, hey, we don't need you anymore. More people will get laid off. That still has yet to play out. So sofa. I think you are absolutely right on that. I think that's going to end up playing out closer to the end of this year, beginning of next year. I think we're going to end up seeing that, and that is what's going to trigger the recession. That is what's going to trigger the Fed to have to pivot. So then we're going to see interest rates coming down. We're going to see the market coming down because the recession is in play. Then we're going to be able to buy lower because it'll take that 6 to 12 months for those interest rate lowerings to end up affecting the market. So we'd have 6 to 12 months of another pullback. So 2024, or at some point when the Fed's pivoting, we may get another version of 2022 again, where the whole market just has a massive sell-off due to that. So that's totally possible coming. Yes, Jay. Hummer made 2 Hummers last year. They sold 2. Q1 was awesome for GM. Yeah. Cost average, yawn, cost average, then bam, shoots to the moon. That's how it happens. You're right. And same thing with working out. You guys who follow me on Twitter and everywhere else, you know I'm doing my workout program right now. I'm down 12 pounds, but it's like it's dollar cost averaging for the health. I just eat the same thing every day. I just make sure that I pay attention to my the fundamentals of my nutrition. Is my nutrition within the lines of what I need it to be at? And I just eat the same thing. It's super boring, like putting $20 into Tesla every day. I barely even notice it. Whatever. I go to the gym every day. That's like me putting cash aside. So that's a little bit extra that I'm putting into the market. And it's just a normal routine. There's nothing exciting about it, but you see those results. And then all of a sudden, you make that change. And you look in the mirror and you're like, oh, and then somebody else notices and says, hey, have you lost some weight? That is where you see that exponential jump in the stock price, is relating it to health. So yeah, it's boring to dollar cost average, but when that turns, it's going to turn and you're going to notice a big difference. And all of a sudden you go to the doctor and the doctor's like, wow, what have you been doing for your health? You're much healthier. You don't need to be on these meds anymore. Great job. Lots of things like that. There's a lot of relations between health and fitness in the stock market. Honey, if I would totally go to this, it would be sweet if Elon had an all-inclusive resort near Giga Mexico. I would pay to have a tour of Giga Factory in Mexico and see the compact cars being made, and I have some Tesla tequila. I would absolutely do that. I've been trying to book a trip down to Cancun just because I'm so busy working all day, every day. I'm at the point where I'm not even sure if I know how to relax, and I've been contemplating booking a trip down there just to be all-inclusive so I don't have to do anything for a week. Would be nice. So if they had that, I would totally be in on that one. Timmy, like, checks hurt my suntan. Yeah. Yeah. I don't get much of a suntan. Actually, it's funny because I'm part Italian. So when I do go out into the sun regularly, like when had my landscaping company, I'd get pretty dark. I mean, as pasty as I am right now, I do burn pretty bad. But when I get dark, I get pretty dark. It's the Italian in me. Do you think the compact will be available in the States and Canada, or only other markets? It'll be available everywhere. So they're going to end up putting it out of Mexico, and I have no doubt they're going to end up having it coming out of either Shanghai or the other factory they're going to be announcing this year. They're going to have 2 factories producing the compact car on different sides of the world. This is just my opinion. There's nothing proving this at all. Just my theory on this. They're going to have a factory on each side. Both are going to be producing it, and they're going to ship them to everywhere. Everywhere that Teslas are going to be, they're going to have them. So US, Canada, Mexico will all have it. They'll have it in Europe. They're going to have it in Shanghai and China. Yeah, so I think that compact car is going to go absolutely everywhere that they possibly can. Elon gearing up an R&D team to address ChatGPT. Bought a whole bunch of NVIDIA CPU and hiring people. Maybe the new division of his for his X-Corp. That's true. Will this be a distraction or deserve our support? Definitely deserves our support. Things that we've talked about a lot of times is, despite Elon saying that his companies don't really overlap, they do. And AI is going to play a vital role in FSD. It's basically the same thing. So it's AI, FSD are all going to come together. So it's going to play a role in Optimus. It's going to play a role in FSD. So yeah. So if he's going to run that through X Corp and Twitter, that is definitely going to play a role when it comes to FSD and Tesla. So people may chime in and say that it's a distraction. If that's the case and it brings the stock price down, awesome. Because when Elon comes out and says, hey, thanks to all the work that the AI team over at X Corp has been doing, now we're going to implement this in Tesla, people are going to be like, and their mind is going to be blown and the stock's going to take off. So yes, I think earnings is on Wednesday and Tuesday. Yeah, no. So I was saying Nvidia or Netflix earnings are on Tuesday and Tesla's are on Wednesday. So that's what I was going with. So Netflix earnings will give us an indication as to what Tesla's will be doing. J Ball last month at 210. It happens. I still think we're going to get over that. It's not even a question. Well, my son's getting a Tesla, maybe. And honestly, timing wise, he goes off to college second half of 2024. And that might be around the time, if that's around the time that the compact car is coming out, yes, he will get one. If I time it right and they come out with it at the right time and I've got the money coming in, the first Tesla I buy might be the compact car for him for his graduation present. Totally possible. So that's that is definitely something that's going to be a potential for him. So if he continues getting good grades, especially if he gets, I've got to do a video for him this weekend. His for soccer, I've got to put together a highlight reel for him for his soccer coaches. But if he can get a good package for a college and save me a ton of money from his grades and from playing soccer, then he will earn himself a Tesla for sure. Lang, but since last May, it was above 900. I think the highest price I bought at that I didn't sell was like 950. Because I bought some over 1,000, but then it ran up again, so I sold it at that point, and it wasn't all of it, but I sold some of it just to make those profits, and then ended up buying lower as we just kept coming down and down and down and down. Jesus, it just yeah. Last year was rough. Uh, Telework Tesla is more important. I have been. They are well aware of my feelings on this. They know what I'm doing on the outside. They know I'm building this channel up. But yeah, I leave early to get my son as well another day during the week. So I can't leave early 2 days during the week. I mean, I can, but we're getting into the really busy season, so I have to do my obligations for work as well and take care of them. Raymond, one day all cars will have chips and connected to software to avoid collision, just like the planes. Yeah. So that I think I've thought about it well down the road. Obviously, it's going to be decades before we get to this point, but when every single car on the road is driven by itself, we're not even going to need traffic lights at all because all the vehicles are going to know where they all are. And you're going to have the navigation in saying, this is my destination. So they're all going to know and do the calculations. We know that this vehicle is going to be at this point at this time. So these are the speeds we need to go at to avoid each other. And it's going to seem like mass mayhem to people who aren't used to it, but it's going to get you to and from points A and B a lot faster than you do right now. And at that point, you won't even need speed limits, where right now speed limit could be 65, 75, 80, whatever it is in your area or state. We could end up going to a point where there are no speed limits. Maybe the cars are doing 150 miles an hour on the road, but because they're so safe and driving themselves, it's not going to matter. So you can actually get to your destination significantly faster than you do right now. Need to hire a Tesla bot for protection. The Terminator. Man, and somebody's going to buy one and call it the Terminator, and that's how it's going to be. Jay Lizard, bold prediction. One day Netflix will combine with Tesla so drivers can watch exclusive content while in FSD, also exclusive movies at the Tesla restaurants and drive-ins. I'm going to agree and disagree. That will happen, but it's going to be through Twitter and not Netflix. Um, I don't think. I think Tesla will just end up creating their own. It'll be their own, or Twitter's going to end up creating their own platform like that. For those of you guys who are on Twitter right now, like they're moving fast. They're already on subscriptions now, which is very similar to like I want to say like memberships here on YouTube or Patreon type things. You pay for a subscription, and I'm gonna have them over there on Twitter. If you guys are over on Twitter and you want to subscribe, I don't even know what I'm gonna do for that content yet. But one thing I'm really liking about Twitter is here on YouTube, I've got to have 4 different channels for all the different things I want to talk about. On Twitter, I can do it all in one place. That's like streamlining my work into one place that I can do. Saves me a lot of time and gives me that time to be able to provide better content for you guys. Right now, I'm on a ton of different social media platforms because I'm trying to build my audience. But if I can build my audience and get people onto Twitter, which is obviously what Elon's plan is anyway, really just streamline everything there, I think that will end up having its own version of Netflix in the future. So Jay, I think you are absolutely right that we will have that in the future. I just don't know if it's going to be Netflix itself or just Twitter's version of it. Melissa, yeah, just kept buying the dip on all. Yeah, that's all I did all last year. Just kept buying the dip, playing my strategy, and I'm very happy with it. Robert, yeah, $20 a day. So, and I know not every country can do this, but anybody who has fractional trading can do this. Different platforms do it in different ways. SoFi, Robinhood do it basically the same way. Public does it the same way also. And you just put it in and you just set it. I want to buy daily, $20. That's it. And so when I started, I was putting in $10 a week into the stock market altogether. And then just as my income went up and I cut my debt down, I increased that over time to become it was $5 a day for Tesla. Then it just kept on bumping up there. Then it was $10 a day. And now it was $25 a day. But we've been at this level and I still have that feeling we're going to come down. So I've been building up cash faster. So if we dip under 150, that's when I'm going to start putting 25 a day back in. And I'll just continue to climb it up from there. So instead of dropping bigger chunks as we drop down, I may just increase my dollar cost average and add more that way instead of dropping bigger chunks. Yeah, Lang. Yeah, running out of cash when Tesla was almost $100. Nobody can predict its lowest or highest point. No crystal ball. You're right. But I still played my levels. And for me, I think the lowest I bought some at 102 and a good chunk at 110. Those were the levels I was holding my cash for. So 120 to 110, I dumped a good chunk of cash in at those points. And then 102, I dumped in a little bit more because I wasn't sure if we were going to break below the 100 then or if we were going to come back up. And obviously we did not. We almost doubled since that 102 point. We more than doubled actually, and then came down a little bit from there. But because of my strategy, I was able to lower my cost basis from 262 down to 225 because I was doing it the way I was doing it. Vico, thank you for your insight. You're very welcome. And I encourage others to go and listen to other people as well. A lot of people have different insights on different things. And it helps you guys get a broader range of knowledge to be able to do your own research and due diligence to create your own better investing strategy for yourself. So that's the most important thing. As long as you guys can learn all the information you can to be able to invest the wisest way for yourself, that's the most important thing. With Sammy, almost hopefully can reach 1,000 soon. That's awesome. Yeah, my goal for this year is 200. Again, I'll be hitting 63 next week. Probably hitting, depending on how the stock reacts from the earnings, should be hitting 65 by the end of the month. Yeah, by the end of the month, I'll hit 65. I'm almost at like 1 share per week right now. And then, of course, the lower we go, the more I'll get. But refresh model S or 3 is going to be huge. Yeah, I don't know if anybody saw the pictures of that. Some leaked pictures that seemed like it was the refreshed Model 3. Almost looks like a Model S, but cooler. So I was very, very happy with that. And Alan, need to watch what Nancy Pelosi does. There was somebody who put out a tweet showing all of the different senators and people that are over in Congress and how much they get paid annually, which is about $174,000, and what their net worth did in the time that they were in office. And it just blows your mind because making $174,000 but increasing your net worth by 60 million in 25 years, how? If these people really cared about the public that's out there and tried to do what is best for them, they would all teach us their investing strategies so that all the people that they care about would actually be able to do well with their finances and not be having to struggle. So when they come out here and say, yeah, we understand what it's like to struggle. No, you don't. No, you have your net worth growing faster than anybody can possibly do it on their own. So if you really cared, you would share your knowledge with others so that they can do the same as you. And that right there is the number one reason why you can say there is just a bunch of horse shit coming out of their mouths, because they just lie in sacks of shit. Sorry for the language. I normally don't swear on here, but it works me up about how we get lied to. Louisiana needs to approve direct to consumer. Yeah. There's some states that are just extremely stubborn. That it boggles my mind. Here in Connecticut, we're very much like California with a lot of things, but we still have those deep ties to legacy auto, and we won't do direct sales here in Connecticut. And I'm like, it's like, that's so contradictory. Another reason why I don't trust our government, because they say one thing, but what are your actions showing me? So one thing I've learned in my years of wisdom is I don't care what your words are that you're saying to me. If your actions don't support your words, I don't care. Your actions mean so much more to me than anything. The people I truly, genuinely respect are the ones who say what they're going to do and do it, or their actions just happen. Just people who just act and then maybe tell me about it later. Those are awesome too. So one of the reasons why in following Elon and Tesla for a long enough time, their actions have been backing up their words. They've got that reputation now in coming out with this. So that's why I can trust them. And I still don't trust them 100%. You know, there's always the question. I question everything still, but I question things less and less the more people prove their actions, their words with their actions. Robert, it's a brilliant strategy to find 20 bucks every single day without question. Fierce consistency, discipline, excellence. And for me, what it was is I did the math. And you know, you guys who see my videos every month on my finances, that's all it is. I have done a very good calculation on my profit and loss for my own personal finances. I figured out what my finances are, how much I need to live with, if I can squeeze some money out, you know, and then I do my investing. And all the money that I invest is money that doesn't exist to me. It's just like child support goes to my ex-wife. I don't even see that money. It's gone. It's not my money. It's hers. So when it comes to my investing, that money is not my money yet. It is going to be my money in the future, but right now it is not my money to spend. That's the way I view it. So I have figured out the very bare minimum that I need to get by. I live a very simple life. My friend came over, she saw my W-2 and said, "Why the hell are you living in this apartment?" I said, "It's because I'm investing my money for the future, because I don't want to live here forever. I want to have a future that I can live before I end up hitting ages where I can't enjoy life anymore." So that's my strategy. And that's why when you have a strong enough reason and a why to do what you're doing, the discipline comes a lot easier. Alan, easier to work out and lose weight when you're single. True and not true, because if you have a significant other who you do it with, having that buddy system is a lot better when you have somebody to motivate you and you guys have both the same strategy. Because one day when you're not feeling it, the other person is like, all right, let's go at it, you know, and then vice versa. Again, that can also go the other way where both people are like, we don't feel like doing it today. And then you're an excuse to not do it. Does go in both directions. But yeah, I wouldn't mind having a workout partner. I mean, for me, I've been doing it so long. I'm very independent, so it doesn't bother me to do it by myself. I'm very self-driven and motivated. But I mean, there's some cute girls at the gym. They definitely motivate me to get up and go to the gym every morning to go and see them. Absolutely. So I guess being single is is good in that respect. Raymond, instead of buying life insurance premium for your loved ones, just keep buying Tesla shares instead. I'm not going to say yes or no to that, but I can't disagree entirely. Uh, I went to LA Fitness today. They've doubled their monthly rate from when I was a member 2 years ago. Really? They gave me a break because I was a previous member. Still alarming. Wow. I mean, I go to Planet Fitness. It's $10 a month unless you have the black card, and it's 25 a month. So when I get my van, I'll bump it up so I can go to Planet Fitness everywhere. It is what it is. I've worked out outside. Like I don't need a gym to work out. I can figure things out. I've carried buckets of rocks up and down hills. That's what you do in Spartan races. So if I wanted to go get a good workout in, I'm just going to go to a trail somewhere with some hills and I'll get in a good workout. So if any of you guys want to work out with me when I go on my travels, beware. Uh, Melissa, this is awesome. Can't wait to show my son how to trade stocks this summer break. And of course, he inherits my portfolio and all my Tesla. Yeah, it's something I've been trying to work with my son on. I have a portfolio in public that is strictly for him. I put in $5, $5 every single week into Tesla. I invest a little bit into some cryptocurrency for him. So very little, but yeah, that's something I end up adding for him, and I'll teach him how to do it as well, so he can jump into it. Nicholas, sorry I'm late. Maybe talked about this one already, but you think 20 million bots by 2035 are possible? I do. And here's the reason why. Because I think it's going to be a slow growth thing over the next decade. I think they're going to come out, so I think we may see some very early on production ones by 2025 or 2026. It's going to be around the time that FSD gets solved. We'll see the production because that's where they're going to be the most viable. And seeing as they have figured out production for vehicles so well, coming out with a robot should be faster. It's a different form factor, of course, but it shouldn't be too bad to come out with this. So they just need to figure out how to mass produce these things. But if they're going to be able to figure out how to produce 4 million vehicles a year out of one factory in Mexico, being able to put out bots at that rate come 2035 is possible. A lot of things obviously need to fall into line along the way, but I do think it's possible. And then, of course, the big factor in that is going to be what is the use case for it? Is it going to be just for factories around the world? What advancements do they have? Because producing 20 million bots a year means nothing if they can't sell them. So if they're going to be doing that many bots to the mass public, that's perfectly fine. But I don't know if they have the ability to sell 20 million bots just to other manufacturers out there. Maybe they do. I mean, there's a lot of manufacturers out there, but there's a few factors that I think are going to play into it. My son just let me know, for you guys who watch baseball, Judge just hit his 5th home run of the year. Very exciting. And so, of course, he has Judge on his fantasy team. Jay, whoa, did Tesla ever buy that lithium company? I didn't hear about them buying it. No. We know the lithium refinery they're building right now, so I'm wondering if they're still in talks. I don't think they're against buying it. I think it's one of those things where if they've had the discussions with that lithium company and that lithium company is able to produce and mine the speed that Tesla wants it mined at, they may not buy them. But I think that's the reason Tesla has gone after some lithium mining companies, was strictly for the fact that they need somebody to produce at the rate that they needed to be produced at. And if somebody else isn't going to do it, then they'll figure it out on their own. Tim, you should tell Benny he's getting a Toyota. Then on graduation, give him a toy Yoda. Yes. That's awesome. And I might do that. That would be a great idea. That's right up my alley, and my kid would roll his eyes. Would be awesome. Wasami, have a Model Y and love it. Yeah, I know. My friends have Model Ys. I've driven them. Absolutely love the vehicle. I have to just be wise with my money about what I'm doing for my finances in the future and what my future plans are. I'm very much of the mindset of delayed gratification. So for me, delaying the gratification of getting that Model Y so that I can get a cyber van in the future while retiring from my job at the same time is more important to me. Because if I get a Model Y now, that's now a actually, I think they did the math. It was like a $700 a month expense that I don't have right now that I would now be doing, which would then delay my ability to retire sooner. So buying the Model Y would delay retirement. Which one to me is more important? Retiring early is more important to me. So those are just the decisions that I'm making for myself as to why I am just putting off the purchase of a Model Y. Tim, keep the Tesla for yourself. 3D print a toy model Tesla for Ben. Here, yeah, here's your compact one. Here's your compact Toyota. Good luck getting in that thing. It's a little clown car. Let's see. Lou, you think my long range 3 has become a unicorn? Honestly, yeah. When I was looking at it just for price purposes, I was like, I wouldn't mind buying a long range Model 3. But I think with the refreshed Model 3, I think they're going to bring the long range back. I do. I truly do think it's coming back. Um, so I have no doubt we're going to end up seeing that again in the refresh. Yes, you're right. Not Twitter, it's X-Corp. Working on switching that over. Uh, so we'll see when it's all totally official for them. Uh, uh, I'm so far behind on comments, guys. Sorry, I'm trying to go through them all because you guys are awesome and you're ending my week on the best note ever, as always. Uh, oh yeah, Elon BBC interview. He obliterated the poor journalist. He did, and the guy just ended up just not being there anymore. He's like, yeah, I'm done because I have no more bullshit to throw at you, so I'm out. Like, dude, so bad. Vinny in the house. I haven't had Vinny. You know what? I gotta have you on the show. We'll chat. We'll chat over on Twitter and figure out when to get you back on here because it's been too long since we've had you on here. Why is Blackstone BLK stock up so much today? Any bank shares news? Don't know about Blackstone in particular, but we are going into bank earnings season. So that could be playing a role into it right now. I do not know specifically for Blackstone, but that very much could be what's going on. Yes, be a good human. Be a good human. That merchandise coming soon. Coming soon to an Oracle near you. Yep, Lang, exactly. You lead a simple life, enjoying your retirement life in good shape, while lots of people spend future money with a credit card and buy now, pay later plans, then screaming poor at older age. So sad. You're right. You're right. And my dad taught me well. My dad was very frugal with his money. You know, he didn't make a lot of money growing up. My mom stayed home with us kids until we all went to school. And then she just had a very part time job herself. Um, and with that, he was still able to save money, retired at, I was like 57 or 58. And I owe a lot of credit to him and the wisdom that he has taught me. And I've had to learn some of it on my own. I was stubborn and, like I had to fail on my own to learn these things. But because of what he had taught me and what I had seen, when I failed, I was able to learn a lot faster coming out of it. So I owe a lot of that to my father. Oh yeah, gas prices are going up too. 369 in Indianapolis. Yikes. Yeah. And then for you guys who haven't seen, Saudi Arabia is cutting 500,000 barrels per day. Prices are going to be going back up. It's so stupid. Let me see. Ian, what's going on? Good evening, Tim, from the great UK. Great to see Elon in Paris, that BBC guy. Classic Muscom, I know. I'm loving this race between Tesla and Bitcoin to see who can make the most gains this year. Yeah, Bitcoin cracking over 30,000. Who are you guys actually, who invests in cryptocurrency? I don't have a lot, but just because it's been going up lately and I do add daily to my cryptocurrency, I'm at 12% of my portfolio, which is way more than I intended on having. But because of the way it's been moving lately, and the excitement over in China, and for you guys who don't know, there's been a lot of chatter about cryptocurrency going on over in China. Also in China, they just came out with their numbers and their economy is recovering very strongly over there right now. So that's a big reason for the push in cryptocurrency and the way it's going. And that's one of the reasons I'm not just going to sell it out. I think cryptocurrency is going to play a major role in the future. I think by the end of this year or in part of 2024, we're going to get regulatory approvals and regulations on this so that it's going to be safer for institutions to get into it, which will then stabilize the volatility of the cryptocurrencies. But what's going to end up happening is you're only going to end up seeing the most viable ones out there be realistic to have, and a lot of the other coins that are out there are just going to die off. But I think there's going to be a strong future in cryptocurrency. Yeah, Melissa, I think retiring early is much more important. My poor accountant retired 2 months later. That stinks. Her hubby died. Now she spends time alone. Very sad. Yeah. And that's one of the things that, like, you never know. Life is unexpected, just like the stock market. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow. But if I'm going to anticipate living into my 80s, I want to be able to enjoy it as best as I can. So I take care of my health so that I can live and enjoy my wealth for as long as possible. And if I do the wealth right, I'll have even more time to be able to do it on the time, because time is limited. The only thing that you have in life that's limited is time. And that's the most valuable thing that's out there. So the more you can get to yourself to do what you want to do, the better. And some people have that, some people, the jobs that they do are what they want to do. And that's awesome. Nothing against that. But what I'm doing right now is not something I want to do for the rest of my life. So I'm working on doing myself to get out of there and end my career a lot sooner than most people think of 67. No, I think by 47 at the latest, I would like to be done. Lang, one local miner called Wailu talking of producing lithium battery product at new factory yesterday. Ooh, that's good news. I want to meet your dad and see him on here. So if you guys don't know, after we were discussing it the other night on the live stream, my dad texts me and he's like, I was watching your live stream and just contact my agent and you guys can discuss when I'm going to be free to get on your live stream. Oh, my dad's right. You guys see where I get my humor from. So I'll be chatting with him. He's not as technologically advanced as some of us, so I'd probably have to have my sister over there or be able to walk him through being able to get on and do a live stream. So he and I will chat. But yes, I would love to have him on here and share his wisdom with you guys as well. Jay, I just bought $40 of Shiba Inu for no particular reason. It'd be smarter to buy Bitcoin. So I mean, not for nothing. I've been putting $1 a day into Shiba just because it rides the coattails of Doge, and I think Doge is going to do extremely well. For you guys who don't know, coming up this week, I think it's on April 20th, 420, of course. Twitter, X-Corp, you're going to be able to buy cryptocurrency and do exchanges through eToro over on X-Corp. So that, I think, is the first big step that Tesla or that Twitter and Elon are making when it comes to having Dogecoin be a viable currency over on the platform. So when it comes to these subscriptions that are out there, or if you want to tip the people that are on there as content creators, you'll be able to do it in cryptocurrency. And this is going to be the first big step. So when we get there and Dogecoin starts to run, she will end up running along with it. That's just naturally how it's gone. So I don't think that's a bad investment at all, Jay. I think you'll be perfectly fine with that. Actually, Saudi Arabia cutting gas supplies in order to compensate for looser production, poor sales. You know what? You might not be wrong, Hanif. That's totally a possibility. Michael Romero started with 10K in crypto a few months back, up around 5K. Yeah, crypto has been running nice. I mean, what was Bitcoin down to? 17K, I think it was down to at its lowest. That's crazy. That's going to be down. That was down that low. And I mean, think about it. I mean, Tesla doubled in a month. Crypto, Bitcoin is doubling in a month. Ethereum, I think, is going to end up being better because Bitcoin would be more like the store of value, like a gold standard almost. But Ethereum is going to be that token that people are going to use to actually use as currency. So I think Ethereum is going to end up being the most viable coin that's out there. But Doge, I think, is going to be viable as well. So the top three big ones for me are Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Doge. I also have Cardano, and then I have Sheeb. I don't think I have any others. Those are really the five that I've got. So I think those five will be perfectly fine. And of course, when we do get these surges, you're still going to have all the coins, and until we get something that really squashes it, like the regulation on it, all coins should typically move when the entire crypto market moves. So if it's going up, there's really not a bad place to put your money. Obviously, it's going to be the riskier asset you have, the more chance there is of it's going to spike and crash hard. It'll be like an AMC or GameStop. But that's really the crypto market's going to be very similar. Plenty of coverage of Biden over here on his trip to Ireland. Oh yeah, I forgot he was over there. Notice he moves in a similar way to Optimus. Oh my gosh, you're so right. Oh my god. Oh, that's hilarious. Oh my god, yeah. Joe Biden runs on FSD version 9. Will your dad join you for Cybervan tour? Probably not. The van is going to be tight. If I had an RV, maybe, but van probably not. But when I'm in my van, I will be touring out to see them. So at that point, if we go on hikes or if I'm with them, I will definitely have him on the show when I'm out there. Ooh, Robert, I'm a heavy in crypto, 70% gambling man here. I mean, to each their own. Nothing wrong with that. Some people have done extremely well with cryptocurrency, and if you know about the market, it could be a very lucrative market. Anybody who actually follows cryptocurrency closely and knows technical analysis, cryptocurrency, more than any stock that's out there right now, will follow technical analysis very much to the T. It's very, very close to technical analysis. So people who understand how both work can definitely make a lot of money in cryptocurrency. Lang, my mother-in-law died last February. Sorry to hear that. She didn't know much about the shares she invested at a younger time, but she had a good, honest financial consultant and broker last 20 or so. She lives on her dividends. Yeah. You know what? That's exactly what one of my plans is now. And looking at where we're at with the market, sideways market, I've been learning a lot of things. And my dad and I put our money into CDs, so I'm getting 5% returns. I actually have two more maturing on Monday, so I'm going to roll those over. The interest rates have been coming down a little bit because the Fed we're anticipating that pause coming soon. So they're like 5 or 4.8% versus the 5%, which I got previously. Still pretty decent return. Obviously, we've seen significantly bigger returns on the market, but I always ask people, yes, I could have put that money into Tesla back at the beginning of January. But the money that I put in there is cash that I'm saving up to buy real estate or something else in the future. So I want to have it available to use and have it readily liquid. If I put it into Tesla and it ran, would I really want to sell Tesla? Do I want to sell the stock? I don't. So the money I'm putting into Tesla is money I do not plan on using for 10 years. The money I have in the CD is money I do plan on using within the next year. So I've got to be careful with that. But I'm also starting to look and say, well, if interest rates are that I'm getting my returns on the CDs are coming down, I may take some of that money and put maybe 1,000 or two into some high dividend stocks or some ETFs. Like I've got JEPI, JEPQ, QYLD, was it SVOL, I think it is. So there's a bunch of different ones out there that are giving me 12 to 16% dividend returns. So by putting my money into that, I can then get more money on that. Then you start looking at what Warren Buffett did. Coca-Cola, a lot of the stocks that he has are big dividend returns. And when you're dollar cost averaging over time, you're going to continue to get growth on those stocks and you're going to get the dividends. When you get all those dividends coming in, you're now living off of your money. Your money is making you money. And if your money makes you enough money to live on, then you're good to go. And eventually your money will make more money than you need to live on. So then your money is making you money that you can also invest in and live on. Like it's a no-brainer really to go in that direction. Obviously, you need to choose wisely to where you're going to put your money into what dividend plays you want to go into. But thinking about that is the best passive income you could possibly have is going to have your money making you money and your money making you extra money to invest to be able to make even more money. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. Ian, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and XRP. Yeah, XRP is another one. Not one that I got into. let's see, she had BHP, Rio, FMG Bank, shares of Wow, Coles Winery. I'm honestly not familiar with any of those. Um, but if anything that you buy that's a solid stock, and this is one of the reasons why Warren Buffett's in value plays, is because he's not looking for that big swing for, this growth play stuff. He's living on exactly what I said. He's like, you know what? I'll take the value play. It's less stress, and the dividends are going to pay me the money that I need to do what I want. So I don't need the growth on these things. I don't need that stress. His risk tolerance is much lower because of all of that, and that's fine. Obviously, he's been super successful with it. A lot of people get into growth stocks because they're like, well, how do I get to that point faster? And they want to do it through growth stocks. So even when it comes to Tesla, I always ask people, I was like, it's awesome that you want to invest the majority of your money into Tesla. But where is your cash flow coming from for that? Because a lot of the people, like we've talked about it before on here, the Stephen Mark Ryans, Meet Kevin's, all of them, they have outside income sources that are providing them money to invest. If you don't have those outside income sources, what is your Tesla stock going to get for you? Nothing. They don't provide dividends. They don't have anything that you're going to be able to get passive returns from in order for you to get money from Tesla. If you're not playing options, is to sell your stock. Do you want to do that at this point in time? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But that's one of the reasons why, you just got to ask yourself those questions as to where's your cash flow coming from to do this, and what's your strategy for what you're trying to do for your own future. Yep, that's right. Money making money. What a beautiful thing. Yeah, you're right. It's the snowball effect, Hanif. That's exactly what it is. And as soon as you hit that point, and Melissa, it might have been you who had mentioned it the other day. Charlie Munger said, getting to that first $100,000 is the hard part. Once you hit that $100,000, now, granted, I don't know when he said that, so the number may be different. Maybe it's 250,000. But when you have that money invested and that money is making you enough money, thinking about if you've got $100,000 invested and you're making, a 7% return, that's $7,000 over the course of the year. You're not going to live on $7,000, but, if you've got some other dividends here and there, or maybe you're getting better returns, like if I'm getting 12 to 16%, that's good. And that's a good chunk. And if you keep on building your money over time, let's say you've got $1 million, $1 million in the bank, that's $70,000 every single year you're getting from just the dividends. So if you've got that $1 million in dividends, you're bringing in that 7%. A lot of people can live off of less than $70,000. Obviously, it depends on where you live. But if you can live off of less than $70,000, now you have enough to live on and go from there. So then the question is, how do I get to that point where I'm making enough, where I have enough money in there? How do I make that money as quickly as possible to put into these dividend plays so that I can have my money make me money? And again, everybody's scenario is different. You've got to do your own due diligence to figure out how you want to get there, figure out how you can get the cash flow coming in. Sell your children, sell your pets, whatever you want. Don't sell your pets. Pets are awesome. Children, maybe. But don't sell your children. That's just some different, whatever you can do to be creative, to bring in the money, to be able to get yourself to that point, to have your money make you money is great. Robert, yes, I have all those. JEPIQ, I'll have to look into BST. I do not know that one. Pays my mortgage. You got to use the dividend ETF. I just entered TSLY, which tracks Tesla stock. My first dividend will be 58%. I've got to check out TSLY. I will check that out. Thank you for that insight right there. That's pretty awesome. Yeah. And I mean, the dividends are crazy. I mean, the amount of money you can make on dividends is nuts. The other thing you have to pay attention to, especially in a market like this, though, is like I'm into some, and QILD, I'm down on it, but have the dividends made up for what you've been down on? And that's just one of the things you have to do the math on. Is if you're in a dividend play that is losing its value over time, may not be worth being in, because you're losing money on that, and the dividends aren't making up for it. They're really just compensating for the losses rather than actually giving you that cash flow. Just something to pay attention to. And yeah, but this is why they're the blue chip stocks are out there. So Lang, so they were blue chip stocks, good solid miners and banks and grocery stocks. Yep, very awesome blue chips value plays. So again, that's how he makes his money. So Nicholas, you think Tom Ju will soon become the CEO of Tesla and Elon may concentrate himself more on SpaceX, Twitter, Neuralink, or maybe even some private life? I hope he stays CEO of Tesla as long as possible. Uh, yep. Tom Ju rocks. I agree. So we talked about this the other night. My theory, knowing now that JB Straubel is coming up to be on the board, and I have no doubt he is going to get voted in to be on the board. My theory is when he left the company in 2018, he did so to start up Redwood Materials because Tesla knew that they needed to have battery recycling. And they couldn't do it at the time because they were still not profitable and they were going through production hell. So it was something they couldn't focus on at the same time as vehicle production. But JB could leave because JB wasn't as they figured we can make this happen without JB. JB can then go do this on his own, build up Redwood Materials. He'll now come back on as a board member. Let's go into 2025. Redwood Materials is moving further along. Tesla then goes, hey, we've got a lot of extra money coming in. We're going to buy Redwood Materials. Now Tesla owns Redwood Materials. They're going to merge. JB Straubel now isn't just a board member. He's also going to be an employee of Tesla again. Then JB Straubel can become CEO of Tesla and allow Elon to go and move on to the next phase when it comes to SpaceX, Twitter, and all of the other things. It's my theory on this. Again, we will see if that plays out. So I don't think Tom Ju will end up being CEO, but I have no doubt he is in line to be one of the potential successors if these things don't play out that way. Yep, exactly, Robert. And this is why you put in stop orders. If it goes that low, you let it go, move on. Always feed the pig and put at least 20% back into normal investment and make these grow. Yeah, I mean it's great different strategies out there. So you put in your stop losses for your dividend plays. If they lose the money, you've made your dividends. You get out, and that's it. And honestly, if you think the dividend play that you have is going to do well in the future and continue to grow, even if it's a slow growth, doesn't matter. Now you buy lower because it's the number of shares that you have that are going to dictate what your dividend is going to pay out. So if they're paying out, let's say, 10 cents a share, the lower the price is, the better because you're going to be able to buy more shares to be able to get that dividend. Now, of course, when the stock price goes up, typically the dividend payout does come down a little bit percentage wise, just because it's going up. But either way, you've got those extra shares, so you're still getting those dividends as it goes up. And again, why dollar cost averaging is very beneficial. Robert, thank you for sharing your Friday here. These streams provide me with more knowledge and sense of community and this sometimes desolate pursuit of financial freedom. You're welcome, Robert. Thank you. I truly appreciate that. It's one of the ways I like to end my chaotic weeks of work is hanging out with you guys and discussing this because it gives me that enlightenment for the weekend of what my future could potentially be, and then I go live my future life on the weekend, and then go back to work on Monday, knowing that every weekend I do that is just another way of me practicing what my future life is going to be every day. Honey, if Tom Ju Tesla, JB Recycling, Baglino Batteries, Elon X-Corp. Damn, that is a solid team. I mean, that's a great team right there. Couldn't buy TSLY on our online trading platforms. Face pink. Aw, that's not cool. Yeah, I'll have to see if I can get it over here. I must be able to get it here. I'll let you guys know when we're on live next week. I'll let you know if I can get it. Brian, what's going on, Brian? Weekends for the madmen. Oh yeah, madmen. Yeah, and now it's been an hour and a half, and I'm about to get off. So it was nice to see you on here, Brian. But man, I'm exhausted. So last night I was out to visit my hung out with my friends for a surprise 40th birthday party. So I didn't even get to bed till 11:30, and I wake up at 3:30 in the morning to go to the gym. So no excuses. It's one of those things where I talk about just like your finances and everything. Just no excuses. If you've got goals that you've got to achieve, go and do it. Just make it happen. This morning I was like, you know what? I only got 4 hours of sleep. It's fine. I'll go to the gym. When I get home, it's Friday, so I get to sleep in on Saturday. So that's yeah, that's how I thought about it this morning. But always remind yourself of what are my goals and what do I need to do to achieve them. And if I don't do this today, how much is that going to hold me back? Brian, just been busy prepping for my weekend. Someone's got to pick up the slack when you're outliving your life. Oh yeah, Brian working hard. Brian, are you doing a live stream next week? I was just letting them know I'm going to be doing. I can't be on for the earnings release, but I will be on to do a live stream for probably. I'll try to get on maybe half hour before the actual earnings call to discuss the numbers, and then the earnings call, and then a follow up. So I don't know if you were doing anything yourself, Brian, but if you're not, you are more than welcome. You and Vinny, if you're still on here. I'd love to have both you guys on to do a chat for the earnings call. So let me see. Go through the last couple of comments here, and then I will duck off, and I'll keep you guys posted. Oh, this is awesome. Yes, Brian. Yep, I can do the first one and join you for the second. That's awesome. Yeah. So you guys, since I'm not doing it, definitely hop onto Brian's live stream, My Tesla Weekend, for the earnings release. So that's coming out probably about 4:03 or so. I don't know whatever time is Brian's going to do it for next Wednesday, and then I'll figure out what time I'm going to be doing mine, and I'll have Brian on mine as well. So that's awesome. So we will have Brian on next week, confirmed. We will do it, and then I'll check with Vinny to see if he wants to hop on also. EPS prediction, Nicholas. I apologize. I've been so busy. I have not had a chance to go in there to check it out. So I will try this weekend. Super busy weekends that I've been having. If I can, I will update it and share with you guys next week. So I do not have any updated EPS predictions. And here's Brian. He's going to be going live around 3:30 to 3:45. So if you guys want to, then that would be Eastern time. So lock it in, put it on your calendars, folks. My Tesla Weekend going live next week for the earnings release. That's going to be awesome. It's going to be a good time. All right. Well, on that note, Brian, so I'm glad we got to have that little bit of a chat. We'll chat over the weekend too. You guys have yourselves a wonderful weekend. And we will see you next week.